Hand stability is a key skill in underwater kicking, yet there are big differences in what elite swimmers do. Let's take a look at what's happening and what your swimmers should do. Hi everyone, Ader here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. And here we're going to cover controversial subjects, controversial topics, and I'm just going to riff on it and we'll see what happens. The first thing we're going to talk about is hand stability during underwater kicking. Now, so why is it important? Well, swimmers have to create a wave that's going to travel down their body, and if they don't have any sort of stability, and that usually is going to start up top towards their arms and their head, they're not going to be able to generate that wave which travels down the body. So that's the first thing that's really important to understand. That's why it matters. If they're just moving their body all over the place, they're not going to be able to find stability and then start to generate a wave of undulation. So there are three different ways that swimmers can do that. First of all, they can just have no movement in the hands or random movement in the upper body. They're just moving all over the place. There's no wave generation. They have no control. The upper body is just moving all over the place. So that's kind of the first step. The second thing that you have is people that have really good and stable control of their upper body, and the hands don't move much, the head doesn't move much, everything stays really in line. And then the third type is where you have people that have a little bit more motion in their upper body when they kick underwater, but they're doing so and they're generating a wave, and that wave is just bigger than the swimmers that have really tight stability. And that's a key difference. And so they have to find stability first, and then they can start making a bigger wave. But it's not random movement that's happening in the upper body and the hands. It's a wave of undulation that starts in the hands. It starts a little bit bigger with some swimmers and then travels down. So that's kind of the progression that swimmers need to move through. If they try to go from random movement, just moving the arms and the upper body all over the place, and then try to go to a pretty big wave motion with the upper body, it's not going to happen. So they need to start with when they're just moving their arms all over the place, then they need to find stability. And once they find stability, then they can start to create a wave-like motion from the upper body and build upon that. So that's the key progression. If you have swimmers and you're not sure what to do, where to start, if they're just moving all over the place, get them stable. So do things where their hands are really locked in and be where they can really find that stability, learn how to generate that wave of undulation and keep things really tight. Then, if they want to, they can start to get a little bit more motion with the arms, with the head, with the upper body, and see if they can generate a better kick that way. Now, what you'll see is you have some elite swimmers that are really, really tight up top, and then you have some that are a lot looser with their undulation. And there doesn't always seem to be a huge difference in terms of how fast they are. I've seen some really fast swimmers that are really tight with their underwaters, and so like Michael Phelps is an example. He doesn't have much body motion up top, whereas Caleb Dressel has a bit more of that, and obviously they're both really successful with being fast underwater. So one isn't necessarily better than the other, but one might be better than the other for certain swimmers. So you got to kind of figure that out and let them explore that, but you want to help them find stability first, and then you can see if more range of motion is going to be appropriate for them. So that's the big takeaway is you've got random movement, tight movement, and a little bit more open movement. So if they've got no stability, help them find stability. And then if they want to use more range of motion, that's fine too. So if you want to learn more about how to generate and help swimmers learn how to create stability in underwater kicking, check out the video here. And if there are other controversial topics that you want me to cover, drop it in the comments below.